the professional and personal life of Uta Hagen and Herbert Berghoff.
I'm Letitia Ferrer, the daughter of Uta Hagen and stepdaughter of Herbert Berghoff.
I'm Teresa Tuscher, the granddaughter of Uta Hagen and Herbert Berghoff. In this episode, Letty talks about from being on the back porch in Montauk at Uta's home to going to boarding school with Orsen Wells' daughter and so much more. This is her story.
So this guy in this picture, he was famous, right?
Yeah, his name was Alexander Scourby, and he was friends of the family from the time I was very little. He was in productions of Othello with your grandfather and your grandmother, and excuse me, and was also in a play of Shaw's Saint Joan with your grandmother. And these pictures are on your grandmother's back porch with you and me. You were probably, I would say, probably about 8 years old. This is out in Montauk. And this is with Alex and me and you. Two pictures, one on a semi-close-up on the back porch outside her bedroom. And then one that is a little more centered with an extra woman who I'm not sure who that is, because I think Alex's wife, Laurie March, was taking these pictures.
And that's just kind of how it was. Grandma knew a lot of famous people in her circle, and they would just come to the house and hang out and have dinner and cocktails or do whatever. And I didn't know who they were. They were just nice. They were just nice people. This next picture, it looks like a camp photo. It's of you and Grandma, or Oma, and Opie, as he would be known in my world, with somebody else. Can you tell us a little bit about this picture?
Yes, this was at one point, again, it was either Alex or Laurie who took this picture, and this was when I was at camp, and their daughter, Alexandra, who we call Lexi, is in the picture sitting next to her mother. And this was on, at camp we had what was called Parents' Day. And Lexi was going to the camp with me. I had been at the camp for a while, and I guess Mom had spoken to Alex and Laurie about possibly having Lexi go to the camp. She came and she loved it. And this I think is on, it's on the campground somewhere because there's a foot. So this was during Parents' Day at camp.
This black and white picture of you and Laurie and Oma and Opa at camp is the Laurie who took the picture of you, me, and Alex in Montauk.
Yes.
Oh, that's pretty cool. See, that's just the way it was in the family, and they were just people. They were names, but they were people, and it's nice to be able to put those pieces together. Do you have any other stories about Laurie that you would like to share, or Alex?
They were family, as I say. I knew them from the time I was relatively small, and after they had done Othello, Lexi and I really became close, and at times I would go up and spend the weekend at their house. They lived up on Morningside, just off of Central Park on 116th Street.
Why did you become close with their daughter after Othello? What was the link with Laurie and Alex, with Oma and Grandpa in Othello?
Well, Alex was in Othello with them. He played...
with Grandma, with Oma and Grandpa?
Yes.
Grandpa is now Jose and not Herbert.
That's correct. In the recording, and I believe it was the same thing in the show, because remember I was very small, in the recording Alex plays Desdemona's father, and then he played something else, and I don't really remember. But after Othello, they were still very, very close friends. And then in the 50s, when Omi did Saint Joan, which was directed by Margaret Webster, or Peggy Webster, as the industry also called her, Alex was in that play with Omi also. So that's because of all of that. And after I believe after I came home from Omi doing a streetcar, and I was at a boarding school called Todd School for Boys with Chrissy Wells, or Christopher Wells, and
were
more
at a
known her as
boarding-
Christy.
You were at a boarding
Chrissy.
school for boys, but
Yeah,
you
it
were
was
a girl.
I know, but it was called Todd School for Boys, and there were 5 girls at the school. There was Chrissy Wells, Orsen
you had
Wells.
You had your pick.
Well, at that age, I didn't give a darn about it. All I remember was apparently the boys pulled my hair and would try to stick my hair in inkwells, and Mom said that was because the boys liked me. I didn't know. Chrissy got to the school because Orsen Wells went there when he was a kid, and Orsen stayed in touch with the principal, whose name was Roger Hill, and his wife Hortense, and everybody called Mr. Hill Skipper. So that's how I always knew Mr. Hill as Skipper. And Chrissy Wells was my roommate.
So you met her father a bunch of times.
I don't remember. I may have. I've written Chrissy a letter recently and said I didn't remember whether or not Orsen had ever come up to the school. Mom said that the other 3 girls at the school, making up 5, were faculty children. The school I was put there because Omi was doing the national tour of Streetcar Named Desire, and she was in Chicago for 6 months. So that she would be able to see me, she thought the best thing to do would be to place me at Todd School. How she found it, I don't know. Maybe it was through Mr. Wells. I have no idea. But that's how Chrissy and I became friends. And then Chrissy wrote a book, which somebody had lent to me, and I read it, and I'm going, oh my God, it's a fabulous book. And I think you can get it online if anyone is interested.
You can get anything online, even things you don't want. That's an interesting story. I didn't know that, just tying back to the camp picture of you and Oma and Opie and Lori
and Lexi.
And then tying the colored photo of me as a child with you and Alex. I didn't know that it was all the same connection. So
Yes.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. But that's kind of the way it was in our world. It just, my mom, Letty, was hanging out with people just because they knew my grandmother, and my grandmother performed with them, or at that time it was a very small circle, or boarding school related, and that tradition just got carried on to me as time went on. So that was just our norm. Still kind of is occasionally. But yeah, I guess that's it for now.
If you like this podcast, please feel free to share this with your friends.
Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for more stories on the professional and personal life of Uta Hagen and Herbert Berghoff.